Welcome to Chapter 14 on More Mates. I really want to encourage you to go through the material in the book, but in this video we're just going to talk about some ways that you can work with mates and control them and maybe minimize mates as well. First of all, the mates folder is generally at the bottom of the assembly tree, and one of the things that you can do to help organize mates is to rename mates something special. So in this case we've got a distance mate between a couple of things, and this should be called clearance between crank and frame. So by naming mates you get a better idea of what that mate is for later on, and if somebody else comes and works on your model, they'll also understand that. Now, by putting mates into special folders, so this is maybe the drivetrain mates, and you can make another folder that's got another set of mates in it. Let's take all of these, right click, and add to new folder. We can call these the seat post mates. Okay, so we start to organize our mates very clearly and name them well. This is best practice for working in assemblies. Another thing that you can do that you might not even think of is to use patterns in some cases, rather than making a lot of parts and mating them into your assembly. So for the chain in this assembly, we only really put in a single link, then use the chain pattern to create the rest of the links. Now this does create the rest of the parts. You're not going to avoid that, obviously, but what it does avoid is making a lot of mates. And solving a lot of mates is one of the things that slows down assemblies, especially as they get larger. If you are able to take this pattern and put it into one of the sub-assemblies, that would be another thing that you could do to help improve the performance of your top-level assembly. Well, let's take a look at a couple other things. When you open up one of these parts, you got a lot of extra information in here, but you also have mates that are specifically related to that particular part. So that's one of the things, or one of the ways that you can browse to information that you need very quickly. Let's go to the top level, right click on the assembly name here, and take a look at some things. Generally in your assembly, if you don't need all of these things, like you don't need the configuration names, you don't need the display state, and maybe you don't even need to see the features for each particular part. What you want to see is the mates and dependencies while you're in the assembly. So if I make that switch here and then come down and look at the part, all I'm seeing here is the mates. I can also see the features if I want to, but they're in a collapsed folder. This technique just makes it easier to look at various mates in various parts. Don't forget the feature manager filter. So if you're looking for a particular mate, if you're looking for a coincident in particular, you can filter that out and it's going to show you everything that you put in your list. Also, have a look at this functionality. If you right click on a component, you can go and view the mates just for that component. Well, we've already been able to do that by expanding the list, so that's easy. But here's another one. Notice with the cursor over the part, your dynamic reference visualization shows you the mates that are involved with that. Dynamic reference visualization, again, is accessed through the view menu, user interface, and dynamic reference visualization for child and for parent. Another way that you can use the view mates is by selecting multiple parts and view mates, and this will show you all of the parts and also isolate those components. It's a nice way to visualize some of the information. And one of the great things with assemblies in general is that if you make a mistake, it can't be undone, such as I've flipped this part around, one of the things that you can do is you can go to File, Reload, say OK, and SolidWorks will reload your assembly the way it was originally, with your part back in position. So these are just a few tools on how to deal with mates in SolidWorks. And if you're looking for more information, more detailed information in particular, I'm sure you'll find a lot in the course of reading the chapter. Thank you very much.